Good afternoon, welcome council and administrative personnel in the room, and those viewing on our online platform to the April 2nd, 2024 regular meeting of council of the municipality of Jasper. It's 1:30 p.m. I will call this meeting to order. Councillors, you have today's proposed agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or other changes to be made to the agenda? Councillor Wilson?
I'd like to add, late agenda item, my apologies. Agenda item 6.1, and then we would renumber 6.1, 6.2 to 6.2 and 6.3. Mine would be 6.1 National Housing Conference update.
Thank you for that. Anything else to be added or subtracted, Councillor or Deputy Mayor Mel?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to add a discussion item regarding the transit survey. I'd like to add that as 6.4 and go from there. Transit survey in the community.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Melnick. Anything else? I ask for a motion then to amend the agenda by adding agenda item 6.1 National Housing Conference update, renumbering what is now 6.1 and 6.2 and adding 6.4 transit survey. Councillor Hall, thank you. All those in favor? Councillor Demota?
Sorry, yeah.
Thank you. There are none opposed. That is carried. And may I have a motion then to approve the agenda for today's meeting as amended? Deputy Mayor Melnick, thank you. All those in favor? There are none opposed. That's carried. We have two sets of minutes for approval today, beginning with the regular meeting minutes of March 19th, 2024. Are there any errors, omissions, or corrections required to be made to those minutes? I would look for a motion that council approve the minutes of the March 19, 2024 regular council meeting as presented. Thank you, Councillor Hall. All those in favor? There are none opposed. That's carried. And we also have the committee of the whole meeting minutes from March 26, 2024. Are there any errors, omissions, or corrections required to be made to those minutes? Seeing nothing, may I have a motion, please, to approve the minutes of the March 26, 2024 committee of the whole meeting as presented? Mr. Demota, thank you. All those in favor? There are none opposed. That is carried. That takes us to agenda item 4, correspondence. There is nothing that's made the agenda. Delegations, agenda item 5, we have no delegations listed, and there is no one in the room to inquire whether they wish to appear as a delegation. So that takes us to new business and the new item 6.1 National Housing Conference update. Councillor Wilson.
Thank you for that, and thank you for letting me add the late item to the agenda. I just felt it be better to have this kind of at the start of the agenda today rather than in councillor updates, as it's a bit more in depth. So as many of you know, recently I had the opportunity to attend the CMHC National Housing Conference in Ottawa, and to say it was eye-opening, hopeful, and inspiring would really be an understatement. I feel that I'm returning home with a toolbox full of ideas, proven methodology, and gumption to tackle Jasper's acute and unique housing crisis. Across the country, municipalities are challenged with a similar crisis. 3.5 million homes are needed by 2030. Sorry. We already know that over 200 are our responsibility from our own studies. And so, yeah, those are the responsibilities of the community of Jasper, and a number that's compared to the 3.5 million seems digestible, manageable, and achievable. And that's if we collaborate with our community stakeholders and all levels of government. I would have hoped that the department that administers Jasper's land use and planning development currently would have been compelled to attend such a useful collaboration. This conference was their sole purpose was to make meaningful progress in solving Canada's housing crisis, but unfortunately there was no representation from the federal agency Parks Canada that administers land use and planning in our community. I think that that spotlight or highlights a problem that we have to address. The federal government was there, of course. They were represented by the Minister of Housing and Infrastructure, and his message was clear. We need to take rapid and urgent action on housing. I suggest that Parks Canada as a federal agency must heed that call. They must take this obligation seriously and take swift, appropriate action as the controlling government body over land use planning development in the municipality of Jasper. We're no different in most respects to the country, to the rest of the country, in the fact that we need safe, stable, and appropriate housing for all. And that like kind of echoed through the conference. Legalizing density is the single most important thing we can do in Canada to deliver housing in a climate smart way. We must end exclusionary zoning. Low density is bad policy. Again, echoing throughout the sessions at the conference. I was really interested in the fact that I learned that BC has brought in legislation that zones every residential as multifamily. So this allows opportunity for the private market to innovate and design buildings that meet highest and best use. Across the country, the mantra is infill first. This is the low hanging fruit, the most cost effective, the most climate friendly, the easiest on municipal infrastructure. Lucky for us, this is our only option, right? We have the benefit of always knowing we aren't building outwards, so we must build inwards. We know the playing field. We must enable our homeowners, businesses, builders, developers, and government to get to work and solve our own problem. So what I suggest we need to do now is, a big one is contact the Minister of Housing and Infrastructure, Mr. Sean Fraser. I think we need to call on him to collaborate with the Minister of Environment to empower the superintendent to take immediate action on housing. The superintendent does have the power to rezone, and I'm here challenging Mr. Fair to act on that responsibility. And if he can't, contact his superiors. He is part of the federal government, and the federal government is saying we must act on this housing crisis. Second, I think we should strike a working group with Parks Canada with one main goal, and that's legalizing density. This cannot wait until the next community plan. Parks Canada and the federal government have the ability to rapidly upzone the entire municipality of Jasper. This is happening across the country at an impressive rate. Parks Canada sits on the majority of the currently multifamily zoned lots in the town, and they have yet to commit to any immediate development on them. We must empower the private market by blanket rezoning. Multifamily, low rise is the most needed and most achievable type of housing that we can kind of be looking at. I feel that this type of development already falls within the current LUP, the land use and planning regulations, if upzoning does occur. And again, the superintendent does have that in his purview. The superintendent, I think I just spoke to my next line there. Building is inherently risky, and so we need to minimize that risk for private market, as well as municipally led housing projects. We must remove barriers on developers, such as offsite levies, subdivision costs, and upzoning costs should be reduced or removed to entice potential development. And you may have noticed that CBC article today about $6 billion going for infrastructure. There's also discussion in there or a commitment to freezing development costs in municipalities for, I think, 3 years. So if you haven't read that article, again, it speaks to what, has been kind of showcased at this conference. A lot of conversation was about development on existing lots. I think we have moved forward with the interim policy on garage suites. And there was supposed to be development on laneway and carriage homes, and that has stalled within as much as we know, it has stalled at the development office. Hoping that that's not the case, and I would like to hear back from Parks Canada, but we need to expedite laneway housing. If Parks does not have the capacity to deliver on this in the near future, we need to request that the municipality be able to take the reins. This is a fairly simple and achievable solution that is occurring across the country, and we need to push this forward. We have the ability to offer incentives to property owners to develop laneway, carriage homes, and garage suites. There's so many underutilized properties out there. Double lots with 2 people living on them. I feel municipal incentives may assist these people in this situation in their decision to do their part in addressing the housing need in our community, at the same time allowing them to remain in their family home. Again, removing parking minimums. We're a 15-minute city or less, of course. We have public transit. To enforce antiquated views that vehicles take precedent over housing has to end immediately. Again, echoed across this conference, every session you go to. What else can I share with you? We must build a policy that streamlines development. For example, once approved, always approved. So having that uncertainty that your one building that was approved at one point is not approved when you go to build it a second time is not beneficial to, or it doesn't assist in development, right? So we need to enable builders to have more assurance and shorten timelines and reduce overall risk. Again, reducing risk to builders, developers, homeowners, it was another resounding kind of catchphrase or tagline. We cannot wait until the next community plan. There's a lot that we can talk about, and there's a lot we can plan for that next community plan, but we cannot wait. That's 2-3 years in the future. We're going to start now, but community consultation and goes on and on. We need to start. There must be action on housing now. We also must work towards that community plan with urgency, which will give our town the opportunity to densify, flourish within our prescribed boundaries. And we know those boundaries, and let's make the best use of it. So in conclusion, thank you for hearing me out. The National Housing Conference was well worth attending and has fortified my view that we are not doing enough to offer our community solutions to the housing crisis. We need to continue to lobby for more control over land use and planning in the future, but we also must put pressure on the current administration that offers this service. Parks Canada Development Office is currently responsible for not just administering development services, but also developing new policy to address the crisis. Through collaboration, I truly believe we can make meaningful progress, but the conversation does need to be louder. So I wanted to put that forward as we move forward into the agenda. Not sure where we go from here, but I will supply this report and definitely would like it attached to the next community of the whole agenda, just so it's out there and we can start taking action. And I challenge my fellow councillors to hear the call. Let's go.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson, and thank you for having identified that opportunity to attend for that National Housing Conference and then taking the time from your own schedule to attend. And thank you for that impassioned update. And we can make the report certainly part of the minutes so that it is recorded. At this juncture, are there questions from any other councils or Councillor Wilson? Councillor Hall.
Thank you, Mayor Ireland. I wonder if we can also include that report in our next intergovernmental meeting.
I would support that for sure.
Councillor Demoda.
Well, I kind of felt and kind of mirrored the passion, the frustration, the hope, and the desire to get things rolling. So I just did want to say that out of all the post kind of function reports that I've ever heard, that was really well detailed. And thank you very much. That was really good.
Deputy Mayor Melnick.
Thank you, and my compliments to Councillor Wilson, first of all, for identifying to attend the conference, and coming back with the detailed report. Did you find in conversations with individuals, other communities in similar situations, not necessarily, of course, in parks jurisdictions, but similar challenges where there's a slow change in land use and planning, or are a lot of communities in the rest of the country moving forward with reduced densities, reduced parking, changes to height restrictions and so on? In other words, are we being left in the dust?
Two things to that. Yeah, I don't think our development office operates any slower than a development officer across the country, or a development office across the country. You know, they are starting to meet their suggested timelines. Although, yes, I think we're being left in the dust in regards to the ability to rezone property for the benefit of the community. Like, our hands are tied, and there's no real action on any type of blanket zoning. You look at BC, like every residential property has the ability to build multifamily now, and that's new legislation that's just come in a year or two ago. Even if that hadn't happened in Alberta, because I know in Edmonton they've had some fairly substantial rezoning happening, like in full neighborhoods, etc. If Alberta acted as BC has acted, we would not be encompassed in that, and that's troublesome. I think that the federal government has the ability. They're the one putting out the call that municipalities have to be doing this type of work. They also have to look in the mirror and say, hey, that we are in Jasper and we are in Banff and we offer the land use and planning. We have to make those changes. But they have to act by, or they have to lead by example. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you all. If there were no further questions, again, thank you, Councillor Wilson, for the report on the attendance at the National Housing Conference. Agenda item 6, sorry, Councillor Deputy Mayor Melvin.
Formally, should we receive the report for information and have it attached to the minutes as well as brought up at the Intergovernment Affairs meeting? So if I could make that motion, it's a 3-part motion, and hopefully everyone, it's pretty straightforward. Accept the report for information, attach it to the minutes of this meeting, and have it included in the Intergovernmental Affairs meeting.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that motion. Deputy Mayor Melnick, is there any debate? I will call the question. All those in favor? There are none opposed. That is carried. I will turn then to what is now agenda item 6.2, capital budget carry forward, before us by way of recommendation from Committee of the Whole a week ago. Are there any?
What number is this?
Are there any further questions of councillors or administration with respect to this matter before I ask a councillor perhaps for a motion? Councillor DeMola?
Not any questions, but just comment, because I made the reference to the boilers, for the activity center, or more precisely, the fitness center, fitness and aquatic center, and administration had brought a recommendation to replace the two boilers there in September of 2019 and at committee, and that was forwarded to the next regular council meeting, and it was defeated. The motion was defeated, and we voted instead to replace a heat exchanger on the boilers to extend its life, I guess, and I guess that got us to the very beginning of 2024. That was a $50,000 expenditure. So then when I saw this back up there, I thought we'd already approved that in the past, and that was my mistake. We had not. So that's where we are today, and I'm confident with information that was brought forward last week and the full discussion that we had on those items, all the other items that I'm okay with, or I'll be okay with supporting a motion today.
Thank you for that, Councillor DeVoto. I look again then to a councillor prepared to make a motion. Deputy Mayor Milnick.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would make the motion that council approve the carry forward capital list of incomplete 2023 projects to the 2024 capital budget as presented.
Thank you for that, Deputy Mayor Milnick. Is there any debate? Do you wish to speak to the motion first?
No, I'm very comfortable that these items, while substantial, last year was a year where we were transitioning still out of COVID, with the hope that this year supply chain issues and other challenges will allow us to complete our capital program on a more timely basis, but understanding that a lot of things happened and caused a lot of challenges for some of these projects. We'll see, the skate park come off, for example, and the activity center come off, which will represent about a quarter or a little less than a quarter of the amount that we're carrying forward. And I think both of those projects, and if we can get a start on the community housing, will be a substantial year of positive changes in the community.
Thank you for that, Deputy Mayor Milnick. Any other debate? I will call the question in. All those in favor? There are none opposed. That is carried. Agenda item 6.3 now, position request for Director of Urban Design and Standards, again before council based on a recommendation from Committee of the Whole. Firstly, are there any additional questions of administration regarding the request? And if not, again, I would look to a councillor for a motion. Councillor Wilson.
I'll make the motion that council amend the 2024 budget to create a new full-time permanent Director of Urban Design and Standards position.
Thank you for that motion. Do you wish to speak to it at all?
I think my presentation regarding housing speaks to it to a certain extent. Yet, yeah, I just really support the municipality getting more involved in an issue that really does affect them, and we have seen a lot of progress in collaborating with Parks Canada with regards to land use and planning authority, and we have to be ready if we get the opportunity to move ahead with it, and I really do feel that's coming. So I think that now's the time to start making these plans and get a position trained up and ready to assist us with that.
Thank you for that, Councillor Wilson. Any other debate? I will speak briefly to the motion and I will vote in favor of the motion. I was leaning certainly that way from last week's discussion. And that was all without the benefit of the report that we just received from Councillor Wilson, and I have no doubt that that was absolutely convincing. We were discussing it in more general broad terms a week ago, but the detail that was brought forward from Councillor Wilson's attendance at the National Housing Conference just leaves no doubt that this is an area where I think it makes absolute sense that we proceed, and I will be supporting the motion to amend the budget financed in the way indicated by Mr. Given on the last occasion. Councillor Demotta?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was trying to wait till and let you speak last. Well, not let you, but I tend to speak early anyway. Yeah, I've been contemplating this all week, particularly from the conversation we had last week, and I'm glad that we had some time to let this ruminate and, you know, have some discussions in public. And I think that, you know, for the people that were following or have been following, there's going to be some that are supporting this and, you know, and some that don't. And I have a strong feeling with a lot of the groundwork that we've been making and progress that we've been making with Parks Canada. And, you know, how efficient and well operated our municipality has been moving, that we can find some savings in other areas, and I feel confident in supporting this motion as well.
Thank you, Councillor Demotta. If there is no further debate, I will call the question. All those in favor? There are none opposed. That is carried. That takes us to agenda item 6.4, added to today's agenda. Deputy Mayor Melnick, Transit Survey.
Thank you, Your Worship. I added this to the agenda. Last week I had an opportunity to respond to some community correspondence regarding transit and alluded to the fact that we would be doing this survey. And then on Friday, we did announce that we do have an opportunity for the community to voice their concerns regarding transportation, and also their observations, and also their suggestions for improvement. And I just wanted to highlight that we have 3 ways of doing that, one being an online survey, the other being a paper survey, and also the opportunity for a Jasper Transit open house. And the municipality does have an opportunity through our Facebook page to receive feedback. And we've seen some feedback where suggestions have been made that we should have a public meeting or open house in the evening. And what I'd like to suggest for council and administration consideration is that we also try to schedule on that same day, the 18th of April, an opportunity for individuals to attend between the hours of 6 to 8 or that type of time period, if it is possible for administration to make those adjustments, not knowing what the commitments are in the activity center and not knowing other commitments. But the suggestion seems to be that another opportunity at a different time during the day might provide us with some additional feedback. And I'd like to, the reason I brought it up is to be able to have the conversation about is there support within council for that, and would administration be able to facilitate that change?
Councillor Demotta.
Well, I guess there's a question to administration, but maybe tied to that, just a little bit of background information on how those hours were, you know, assigned initially, and how they came up with that, and then maybe to address Councillor Malik suggested. I'm just interested to hear. Thank you.
Mr. Given.
Thanks very much, Your Worship. Yeah, certainly administration wanted to use the opportunity of our spring changeover in schedule to engage with the community and particularly our ridership around the service to ensure that as we change over to that summer schedule, that we have a chance to hear from people about any adjustments they might like to see. As council will remember, administration is regularly collecting feedback through our feedback email address for Jasper Transit. I think I've reported previously on some of the themes that we saw that led to changes in our winter schedule. So this is an enhancement beyond that. People can always give feedback through that email address. This is a more concerted effort to look at the behavior of riders and then also to get the feedback of the community about sort of their perceptions around the service and the way it's being delivered so we can make adjustments if necessary. The opportunity for in-person was something that administration had heard a desire from the community to learn maybe firsthand rather than just by being referred to the website. We obviously have a really significant amount of resources that already exist on our website about the history of the transit system and how we've arrived where we are, as well as how it's being funded and information on the capital projects. But certainly there's I think a desire for some discussion about that. Administration is happy to be able to support that discussion. And in terms of booking the times, we wanted to look for something that was soon so that we can incorporate any feedback into the launch of the new schedule. And that recognizing that April is also a very busy month as we're getting into hazard season. And so we are going to have a lot of public open houses over the next little while, some around Fire Smart Day and other things. So there wasn't a lot of magic to picking the times. We want to do some during the day, some after work. And we wanted to ensure that they're at a central location where the municipality had control of the facility. So that obviously leads to the activity center. We are absolutely happy to extend the hours if council feels like hours should be extended. We did have to make a bit of an adjustment because at the multipurpose hall, where we'll have the earlier session of the day, the darts club actually have the multipurpose hall as a part of their booking. So we're going to get booted out of the multipurpose hall. We're just going to move right next door to the, what I'll call the lobby of the arena. So just on the other side of the movable wall, lots of space there. And obviously with arena activity winding down, that's very flexible. So really what it will consist of is myself and maybe other members of administration there to provide information to residents and transit users. We will have hard copies of the survey available for those who can't or don't wish to avail themselves of the online opportunity. There will be the same survey, of course. And we'll also have some hard copy information that maybe duplicates some of what's on the website, but really a good chance for opportunity for people to ask any questions directly that they might have. So in terms of the hours and the question brought forward by Councillor Melnick, the administration is flexible and has no problem extending those hours. My suggestion would be just to extend it. They do already go till 6 o'clock and we're happy to be there and represent the municipality till whatever time council thinks appropriate. We can certainly ensure that as we're getting back into public open house, I think, you know, as we're thinking about our public engagement, we want to ensure that we're engaging it in the times and ways that people want to be engaged. And we'll make sure that we're tracking to see when the most engagement happens, because we want to ensure that we're targeting our efforts. Another part of targeting our efforts that council should be aware of, you may remember from our stats that one of our most used routes is actually the route out to JPL. We see a significant number of their staff using that. And remember, we have about 600 or 700 residents of Jasper that happen to live at the JPL property. So we've actually worked with their administration and are going to be doing an in-person open house out there as well. So it's for the ease and convenience of their staff to be able to engage as well. So we are excited about the opportunity to engage. We're happy to make adjustments as necessary. And we expect that coming out of this one, we'll have more data about how people like to be engaged. And we'll refine for the next time as well. So if council would like to see those hours go clear, happy to take whatever suggestion that might be. We can certainly amend that.
Thank you for that, Mr. Peter. Any further discussion? Councillor DeVoto?
What is the suggestion to extend the afternoon portion or just readjust the hours to have them at a start and end at a different time?
Thank you, Your Worship. The concern that I see here is that you know, we by finishing at 6, we may be finishing a little bit too early. Extending it by an hour or two, and if the preference is to keep the 4 o'clock opening and go till 8 o'clock, that'll certainly allow the opportunity for individuals to make their way to the not the multi-purpose hall, but the arena area. And to Mr. Gibbons' point, give us a chance to see is that the time when people want to engage this way. There's an assumption that that's the way people want to engage, and I think we should use that opportunity to do that and see if that's where people wish to come, or are there more people who are interested and can make their way earlier in the day, or would prefer to use the online. I think, by using all three portals, we're maximizing and allowing people to have their full input.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Mellon. Councillor Demota.
What's the status of living in 601 now? So there. No, I support that, and I think it's good. You know what? I mean, I don't think for everything, just because somebody makes a suggestion that we should switch our times over, but I think that, there are different working groups in the community as far as some people work 9 to 5 and some people work different hours. Some people work nighttime too as well. So I think to give everybody an opportunity, this broadens it, and I'm for supporting that if we heard administration can do it, so I think we might as well just go for it and see what the participations. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Mellon.
Sorry, and if I might just close, I was heartened that where our major users are individuals to and from JPL, and which includes a lot of residents who go out there to enjoy the facilities at the JPL, that if that is I would suspect our major revenue source right now from ridership, or could be, that we respond accordingly to, maximize the revenues by having the services that people want. So this is a positive all the way around, and adding another session for the folks who are supporting the service at the JPL, I think is most appropriate.
Is your intent to make a motion to have council direct administration to extend the hours on April 18th from the previous ending at 6 to extend to 8?
Yeah, your worship, you took the words out of my mouth. I do would like to make that motion that administration make plans to extend the hours on the 18th of April for the public engagement at the arena lobby area to 8 p.m.
Thank you for that motion. Any debate on the motion? I will call the question. All those in favor? There are none opposed. That is carried. Thank you for that addition to the agenda, Deputy Mayor Melnick. That takes us to agenda item 7, notices of motion. We have none on the agenda. And that takes us to agenda item 8, councillor reports. Are there any additional councillor reports? Councillor Wilson.
Not as a councillor, but as a member of the Yellowhead County and Hinton region. I attended the Biathlon Nationals for all of last week and this weekend, and Hinton and Yellowhead County did an excellent job hosting the country at this event, and a lot of volunteer hours went in to it prior to the event, farming snow, all of the behind the scenes type stuff. And so I just wanted to pat Hinton and the area on the back, and they hosted a really great event, and we had quite a few, we had 250 racers from across the country. So, that did spill over into Jasper. I knew many of them staying here, and a great tourist opportunity for Hinton and Yellowhead County as well.
Thank you for that. Councillor DeMotta.
I was just thinking that perhaps I could have followed up during our minutes review earlier on the agenda that I had met with the Jasper Partnership Initiative and more so as the task force for sidewalk seating. And on the latter, the conversation came up in both, and obviously the task force met for the specific reason. And I believe what we heard is that the people that were concerned in the business community have worked with administration to understand that we have the capability of working within our current bylaws and structure to help them get open a little earlier with what they're able to and want to provide for service in the last week of April thus far. And from what I understood is that they're going to review this season to see how everything operates again, and then come forward next year if there is a desire to move forward with actually confronting the 180-day window and moving that forward if they want to. But right now, I think from what I understood is that the desire to work with the existing rules is the decision that they're going forward with. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any additional reports? Hearing none, then we will dispense with agenda item 8, move to agenda item 9. Upcoming events, there is a long list, but it excludes the discussion we just had about the transit survey, but the opportunity for attendance at an open house on April 18th between now 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. Are there any other upcoming events that should be brought to council's attention? Councillor Melnick?
This may be a change in the date, or it may be a typo. Typically NETMA is on a Wednesday, and this shows NETMA on the 15th, which is a Monday. And my understanding was that it was on the Wednesday, the 17th at Papa George's. We'll have a chance to correct that between now and then, but that would be the only change that I would see. And you're right, there is a plethora of things happening here in the springtime in Jasper.
Thank you for that. If there are no other upcoming events of note, we are ready for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Demoda, you apparently have an appointment elsewhere soon.
Well, not till 3 o'clock, but we're early, so I really appreciate the efficiency. Wish other councillors would learn how to follow suit there. I'm just kidding. Committee of the whole is where we do all the meat and potatoes, and this is where we get to make the decisions on all the stuff we debate. So I appreciate the efficiency. So I'd like to motion that we adjourn.
Thank you for that. All in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you all, and thank you to those who viewed the proceedings on our platform. Short meeting indeed, and good afternoon to all of you.